Today is November the 21st, 2022. It's about 10:04 in the morning. And I'd like to also indicate the proper notice has been given as required under the Ohio Revised Code 121.22. And I'd like us now to stand up and do the pledge. And all those who have served our country or are serving our country, could you please lead us in the pledge? And again, for those that led us who are serving our country or have served our country, we thank you so much for your service. Next, we have approval of our board meeting minutes that occurred on November the 7th and 8th, 2022. Everyone has had an opportunity to review those. Are there any changes or updates or revisions?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Next, we get to ballot remakes. And this is always the exciting time and what we look forward to. So, Ms. Poland, who's going to do that today?
Yes, our Operations Administrator, Krista Criddle, will present the remakes to the board. The ballots were remade by bipartisan teams in accordance with Secretary of State directive and board policy.
Thank you. So the first category that we have are the UOCAVA remakes. Those are A1066 through A1148 and A1151 through A1173.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
A second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you. The next two ballots that we have were out-of-county jail ballots. The folks reside here but are in jail in another county. Those are A1149 and A1150.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you. The next category are ballots that the voter had the wrong ballot for where they lived, one which was a UOCAVA. The other was that they had requested a ballot and then moved after, and their address was changed. The ballots had been sent by the time the address change had gone through. So they had received the wrong ballot, but the ballot on that case was exactly the same. There was the same contest and everything on it. The other one, there were some different contests, so we remade those ballots with the contests that did match what the voter had on their new ballot. Those are A1174 and A1175.
I'll move approval of those two ballots.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
The next were ballots with voter intent. Those were reviewed by the director and deputy director. Those are A1176 and A1177.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade as well.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
The next are stray ballots had stray marks on them. Those were A1178 through A1185.
Move approval of those stray mark ballots as well.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you. The last category that we have were ballots that we received. They're two-sheet ballots, so that the two sheets actually must match to be considered one ballot. And so we had two mismatch sheet ballots. Those were A1186 and A1187.
On those two ballots, I move that we approve the remakes.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Next, we have provisional report. Ms. Poland?
Yes, Madam Chair, in your packet, you will find a report entitled Summary Staff Recommendation, November 21st, 2022, November 8, 2022 General Election. There were a total of 8,774 provisional ballots issued in this election. Bipartisan teams have reviewed the envelopes per Secretary of State directive and according to board policy, and we're prepared to present our recommendation to you now. I believe the board historically has begun with the ballots that staff is recommending be rejected.
And I think we do them each individually, right? Each
That's
category?
correct. That's correct.
All right, Madam Chair, I'll move that we reject the 459 ballots of people who were not registered.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
My next motion is that we reject the 93 ballots that were voted in the wrong precinct and the wrong location.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Next, there were 5 provisional ballots that lacked the required signature. I'll move that we reject those.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Next category is no ID or ID mismatch. There were 57 such ballots identified by the team. I'll move that we reject those 57 ballots.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Next, there were 10 ballots that were deemed to have a signature mismatch. I'll move that we reject those 10 ballots.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yes, I'd like to, with the mismatch, can I just take a look at a couple of those?
Yes, staff has those in the room and has also attached to the envelope the signatures that we have on file. These were reviewed by both the deputy director and I as well.
That's all I've got. Okay. I just have a question. Do we ever try to get a new signature to see if persons have changed their signatures?
We do. We reach out and send signature update, the required signature update form.
So each one of these individuals receives such notification?
We can if
I would
directed
like
to.
that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a good question, because over the years, my signature has changed. By working in the field, I work and signing my name so many times.
We attempt to update signatures over time. Obviously, if there's an address update or a duplicate registration, but we can, at times we do send the required form for them to update their signature, and oftentimes voters will call in and request to update their signature.
I think it would be important for us to do that with these.
Yeah, also, when the director and I review signature mismatches before we recommend to the board that it is a signature mismatch, we have the staff pull essentially every signature the board has ever received from that voter. So that includes their voter registrations, but also their sign-ins on e-poll books, their absentee ballots, their absentee forms. And so when we see evidence that a voter is changing their signature over time, we instruct the staff to reclip that signature and update our database with the new signature. And so we're exhausting basically everything at our disposal to make sure that it really is a true mismatch before we present it to the board.
So what happens, how do we handle it if an individual has had a medical incident and like a stroke or something, their handwriting is going to change a little bit, so the wife or husband decides to sign for them? What do you do in that situation?
Well, that signature wouldn't be accepted if somebody signs for them.
Right.
They can make their best attempt at their signature, and it can be witnessed, Or if it's more of something long-term, they can designate an attorney-in-fact to sign for them, and then we send them the required information to establish an attorney-in-fact for them to sign for them.
Okay.
Yeah, one of these signatures looks like a totally different person.
Mm-hmm.
Person's initials are different than the person's who's on the envelope, so, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
Next category are provisional envelopes where no ballot appears to be inside, so we clearly want to reject those, I think. So I'll move that we reject those 9 provisional ballot envelopes.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
There are 27 provisional ballot envelopes identified by staff where the person has already cast a ballot before Election Day. So I will move that I don't know if that's right, if it's Election Day or all of it. But anyway, there's 27 identified that had already voted. So I'll move that we reject those 27 provisional ballots.
Second.
Any more discussion? Yes.
Always just make sure that we follow up with these 27 to determine why they voted twice.
We will do that.
Thank
Staff will
you.
do that.
But I also understand with the way the mail is now and several people that I've called during this period of time, they didn't think their ballot would get there in time. And so they therefore went ahead and came and voted earlier. So that would be interesting to see what the number looks like.
I'll say that I don't think we rarely find anything terribly anomalous there, but I'm with Chip on this, that we should at least ask the question because most of the time there's an innocent explanation, but it makes sense to follow up. I agree.
Was there a motion?
Yeah, we-
Seconded?
Yeah, we're in
Okay.
discussion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Next category are no address on the provisional ballot envelope, so I'll move that we reject those 11 ballots.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
And then there were 78 provisional ballot envelopes identified with no date of birth. So I will move that we reject those 78 ballots as well.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
As for the further review one, should we do those now, or should I do the accepted first? Do you care?
Whatever's the pleasure of the board.
Well, actually, this would be then the chairs. Sorry.
I would like to
didn't-
go with those that we've accepted first, and then we can have an opportunity to discuss the further reviews.
Very good. Then I'll make a motion that we accept 8,020 provisional ballot envelopes for opening and counting.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. So now we're down to the further review of 5.
Yes, Madam Chair, there were 5 ballots where the date of birth listed on the provisional envelope by the voter did not match the board's records. Per Secretary of State directive, the board may choose to vote in public session to count these ballots as long as everything else on the provisional envelope is a match and the voter would otherwise be eligible to vote a provisional ballot. So we've reviewed that and are making the recommendation to the board now. 2 of the 5, the voter listed the date of the election.
Yeah.
So the current date. And then on the other 3, the day of birth was off in comparison to the records of the board. Again, the board can vote to accept these. Both the deputy director and I reviewed them. The information on the envelope does match our records other than the date of birth, and they otherwise would be eligible to be counted.
So can I begin with questions? Madam Chair? Thank you. So of the 2 where the person put the election date, I'm prepared on those. I don't think there's anything else I want to look at. I'm prepared to approve those. But on the other 3, I'm happy to look at them too, Chuck, not to put you on the spot. But are these, a lot of times we see this happen with older folks. Anything you can tell us about those? I can just look at them if you want.
Well, on those 3, the first one, On the envelope, they indicated 7/7 of 35. We have in our records 7/1 of 35.
Got it, okay.
On the second one, on the provisional envelope, 12/25 of 51. Our records are 12/28 of 51. And the third, on the provisional envelope, they indicated a date of birth 12/27/57. Our records 12/22/57. So in all of them, it's the month and the
One
year
digit, yeah.
match our records. It's just the actual date.
And everything else matched?
Yes, ma'am, correct.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to move to approve all 5 of those and count, open those provisional ballots and count.
Second.
Envelopes.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
So is that these additional 5, or is this addition to the 8,020?
That's correct. Our new total of accepted will become 8,025.
Okay.
Okay. Board members, any more discussion?
I think we approved the 820 and we approved the 5, so we're good?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Yes, we do.
I have nothing else in the provisional report.
I'd like, if no one else has any questions, we have Kenny here, and he's represents us through the Secretary of State's, and it's always good to see him as he moves around the county. Good to see you today.
Good to see you all. Thank you to the board for working so hard. Director Poland has been a resource to some of my other counties this provisional period. So thank you for the work you've put forward on that. I will not be at your certification meeting due to being at a smaller county certification on the same date and time. So I will just say to the staff, have a great Thanksgiving. I know we're looking forward to a couple days off later this week after a very hectic month. But great job to the team. We thank you for your service.
And you have an enjoyable Thanksgiving with your family and friends as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I just want to wish everybody that's here, all of our staff, happy Turkey Day, even though we will be back on Wednesday. But I'm just, in case somebody's not here on Wednesday, I don't want to miss anyone, so enjoy your Turkey Day. We will think about you on Wednesday when we're here and when we also sit down with our families on Thursday. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposing or abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you very much. My fellow board members and everyone.